heroes. You know what? What about if we go there and then we look at what's going to be the compositions? I know that the casters are counting the seconds so they can take control. Ladies and gentlemen, the ultimate battle is here. Game 7 between Paws Gaming and Twisted Minds. Sagi, Flam, take it from here.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the first ultimate battle of KWC. It's clearly look like Isaac knows a little bit into my relationships. I like control. It's clearly, he's like, hey, let's give them control over the draft and let us be into this game. But here we are, guys. Obviously, stipulation, because Paws Gaming wasn't able to lock in within those 3 minutes, they have to run with draft game number 6, which we were looking towards ourselves, Sagi. It's not the worst draft.
It's not the worst draft here, but clean on his hands yet again onto this pay. He has not lost a single game onto this pay as of this point. That is going to be a power pick here, coming in for clean here. And the analysts we're talking about, is it going to be a my v my? It's going to be a my v my.
What's better than one my? It is two my's. The character's so nice, we got it twice, but it's going to be Shanks on the Ali going up against Bungjie on the Luban. One highly mobile marksman against one low mobility marksman.
That is indeed the case here, but you gotta be figuring here, the last pick here beating CT Boy onto this Zhang Fei here. You have the Zhang Fei, Marshall Nui, and Pei. This is triple insanely fast tempoed hero here. And if you do get engaged by 90 onto his Fatih, what are you going to do about it? Because this Luban has no feet. He cannot have any mobility to be dashing around.
Yeah, has no mobility to dash around. I mean, we can maybe see the priority for going the teleportation top side of the map, right? To be able to kind of go down to the bot side and then just kind of put the pressure on that way. But like you were saying there, Sagi, Clean has not lost a game on this pay. And I don't think he's looking to upset that now within the ultimate battle. I mean, this is do or die. Game number 7, ladies and gentlemen, at the Amazon Arena, we are getting into the first ultimate battle of the KWC.
And right off the bat, we see a lane swap here coming in from Twisted Minds as they look to contest Myosotis here onto this buff. A 5v5 breakthrough early on towards this top side as Myosotis successfully secures the Crimson Golem.
He's able to smite this Crimson Golem there. So really, we committed 3-4 men there onto the side of Twisted Minds, tried to get the Crimson Golem, tried to punish Myosotis, but he came out on top.
That is indeed the case here, but that is 2 small camps being stolen away from the side of Paws Gaming here. That's going to be hurting a bit onto the jungler Myosotis here, but towards the bottom side here, Fengjie is putting a lot of pressure as they secure the Fire Bee, the Firehawk, and also soon to be the Spiketail Beast.
Soon to be the Spiketail Beast. They're just looking to try and obviously put some resources into the likes of Bungjie to try and get that itemization on a little bit more earlier. And you can kind of already see it's paying its dividends. It's around about 200 gold difference into the bottom side of the map there.
Exactly the case here. And Shanks here, he's playing the early here. He did not have the greatest of the game against Paws Gaming. He was getting sniped down by all these Burning Sun arrows back in game 4, right? But it's a time for redemption here. We don't talk about the previous games here. 3-3 in scoreline, we evolve it back to a best of 1 blind pick.
Best of 1 blind pick here. But I mean, we can revisit the history, right? I mean, we said, obviously, Isaac was saying that Bungjie gets that second chance to prove himself onto the Luban, but so does Shanks. He gets to prove himself now onto the Ali. So a little bit of a redemption arc for those characters, 2 heroes, and those 2 players that we've been focusing on for the majority of this series.
And once again as well here, Blank Clean going for the semi-tank build onto this pay that he has so much confidence in. But due to this rotation here, the bottom tower is getting chipped down so quickly coming in from Paws Gaming.
They're doing very well, right? They're doing very well to put that pressure on down to the bottom side of the map, and it's pre-4 minutes. So they're having a field day with the health bar of that T1. So at that time, around the 4-minute mark, when the Tyrant comes up, that you know for a fact that's going to be the main focus here for Paws Gaming.
Okay, let's talk a bit onto the game-winning conditions here for both teams, right? For Twisted Mind, it's simple. You catch out Fengjie, you mitigate Snow and Myosotis, that is your game plan here. For the side of Paws Gaming here, Fengjie has to survive because unlike last game here where Shanks was on Dirunjie, immobile, he could have got dove by Snow and Myosotis here. This game, he's playing an Arlie, and Arlie has so much mobility to offer.
A lot of mobility, and a lot of, obviously, she can cleanse and take away those long-range projectiles as well, right? So, second skill from Fengjie, maybe getting cancelled out there by the Arlie, but right now, 90 has to make sure he doesn't get caught out here. There's a lot of poking, pushing, and prodding, and placement onto 90, the top side of the map, but then it gets paid back down to the bot side. Jingling getting taken off the board.
And that is the numbers game that we are talking about. One side there's action, the other side the trigger gets pulled immediately. Once again, Jingling gets the punishment coming in here. And talking about punishment here, Clean does sneak away some of the camps once again from the jungle of Paws Gaming.
Just sneaking away them, obviously chipping away at their resources is obviously what we're going to really be looking for here for Clean. Obviously 3k to around about 2.8k, not the biggest lead, but speaking of that, we do get a dive into the bot side of the map, but has to get out of there because they said that Xiao Yang and Jingling are down there as well.
That was a crazy micro sidestep here coming in from Fengjie there. If he would have got connected by that Ryu engine, he would be so done here, but look at Shanks as he gets demolished by Xiao Yang's flash engage.
Yeah, massive. Traveling the distance here for Xiao Yang is not going to be a problem. And obviously having the Dolly, being able to refresh those skills as well, means you can potentially get 2 dives rather than 1.
Exactly, and right now Xiao Yang is proving that his engages are much more effective compared to Hailang here. We talk about all the other picks here, but the key difference maker being this Maestro. Look at that clean execution here. It's not on the Luban, it's on Shanks, on an Arlie.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit worrying for Twisted Minds, right? The fact that you can get caught out on such a high mobility hero is pretty scary for their prospects of the victory of this game, right?
But still, we have yet to see a full-blown out 5v5, and we have seen from last game, Fengjie is so prone to these dives, especially CT Boy and 90. They have such a good synergy in diving the backline, so we have to see, as the game escalates, how does Fengjie play these fights?
He's got to play them carefully, right? Like, we saw the last game where he was getting caught out by 90, dashing in, same with City Boy, but there was kind of like overcommitted, and they had to kind of stay once they were in, but now they've got to try and find a functional way around that.
Exactly, and right now we see rotations coming in from both teams here. A small 1,000 gold lead does fall over to the hands of Paws Gaming here. That 1,000 gold lead is the difference between Xiao Yang and Hailang currently in the mid lane.
I'm going to say it once and I'm saying it again. I mean, Paws Gaming, every time they get that early game gold lead, they win the game. They did it last game, they're doing it right now, so Twisted Minds better not be looking at that as a bad omen.
Man, but that Flam, that last game though, would you really call that as a victory? Because that was Twisted Mind fumbling the bag here. So, man, we gotta see how this game 7 really escalates, because right now it's looking pretty good for Paws Gaming in terms of the goal lead.
I mean, it was a victory. They got a point on the board. They got to the game number 7. So even if it was a fumble, it doesn't matter how you got there. It's the destination, right? You got there towards the end, and you got the point overall. But like you were saying, so far it is looking like a good fight, a good ultimate battle here for Paws Gaming. But we know that in terms of those team fights, this is where Twisted Mind likes to thrive.
That is exactly the case. I do have to agree with you as well, but I want to put focus on our clash laners here, 90 and Snow. I feel like these two will be the key difference makers. Aside from the Mai versus Mai matchup, they will be the one to really find these backline engages. If you can't find strength, you can always find clean on the Guan Yu engage. But exactly, Snow has such a phenomenal game last game that I feel that bringing that tempo from his Guan Yu performance to this game will be pivotal.
Exactly, yeah, he has the momentum. He's kind of had a warm-up match with it as well, so it kind of works out, right? We see obviously the support spell being used there by City Boy to try and slow the side of Paws Gaming to keep them within that means, but someone's missing from this team fight, right? It's Snow. Snow is putting the pressure onto the top side of the map.
And that is a lot of pressure from one Guan Yu alone. He has a frigid charge already, so even if he accesses the backline onto Shanks, he gets the stun in, he will send Shanks flying into the arms of Paws Gaming. So right now, both teams are playing exceptionally safe from any form of engages, but look at City Boy. He's finding an angle, he's looking for the unbridled outburst, but Paws Gaming, they're not giving you a chance at all.
That's the thing as well, right? Like, Unbridled Outburst, it's great when it hits onto 4, onto 3, but if you miss completely, it's going to be a devastating blow for the side of Twisted Minds' team fight potential, right? Like, if you miss that Unbridled Outburst and then you take a team fight, it's going to look worse for wear.
And that's exactly the case here. So that is a very key spell there. If you miss it, you're gonna be talking about like a 30 to 40 second timer where you have to stack, given if there's a jungle camp here. And look at the positioning right now. Feng Jie is at a very safe spot, but we have to see the angle coming in from 90 and Hyla.
Yeah, I mean, Shanks takes a lot of damage before even getting into that team fight, right? This is kind of already showing the potential damage output here for Feng Jie onto the Luban. And again, Luban's really good at just soloing these neutral objectives. I mean, it's gone.
It's gone. He's already finished the Shadow Ripper and the Eternity Blade. He's slowly working towards the Blood Reaper. And look at Clean here. He might be caught out though, but he leaps towards the safety. That is 2 key spells being burned for the side of Snow. But look at him, Feng Jie's getting caught out!
Yeah, the Abroad Land Burst, he flashes into it, obviously baiting it out, but only catching onto 2 of the side of Paws Gaming. Not really setting up that big team fight was really hoping for there.
But still, key cooldowns has been burned from both sides prior to the 10th minute Shadow Tyrant right now. A contest between this buff has been concluded. Clean does get it, and he leaps out to safety.
He leaps out to safety. The Dream Roll comes through just so that Myosotis can get with his boys, right? Rather than traveling in singular pack, they are going together and looking to try and get this T1 into the mid lane is what Paws Gaming really hoping for here, to try and give over the enemy jungle.
And positioning does come up clutch coming in from Paws Gaming as well, but keep in mind, guys, Feng Jie does not have flash for this 10-minute objective here. And look at the Maestro Nui coming in from Xiaoyang here. He wants to catch off Shanks that's slowly but surely pathing towards the Crimson Golem here.
Yeah, I mean, is Shanks going to look to go for it? Is Clean going to kind of go phase check it? I mean, right now, Xingling's around there, just maybe giving intel over to Xiaoyang.
And the difference between the two Maestros, we're looking at Hailang, he's more towards the utility side, and Xiaoyang, he's wanting to farm out all this gold, be the side lane, and make sure that he has the one-shot potential. And for the side of Clean here, he's going for a semi-tank build. He's slowly building towards the Hunter's Grip, but look at Xiaoyang, though, might be caught out.
Oh, careful though, you don't want to lose the Maestro Nui. Oh, Clean with the takedown. Are they going to be able to get that Feng Jie? The Unbridled Outburst, it does not Xingling into the wall, but it's not enough to keep him in space, but the damage for the side of Twisted Minds is coming through.
1 for 2 trade coming in big for Twisted Minds here. Once again, Feng Jie onto this Luban. No mobility, easily caught out by 90. So much engaged, but you only have one spell, which is the Flash.
Only the Flash, and that's going to be the means that's the goal, the green light, right? The green light for Twisted Minds is knowing that command skill has been taken off the side of Paws Gaming. Speaking of taking things away, they take away the Crimson Golem from Paws as well. Able to catch Snow into this brush, is trying to charge out of there. We are seeing Shanks with a bit of a flank here, but he can escape into the top side. The leap of the wall, Clean with a 3-man gank is going to be Twisted Minds taking down Snow.
That's going to be painful for Snow. They're being caught out at such an awkward timing. As right now, if you're Twisted Minds, it's time to orchestrate a push, and it's time to secure the gold lead for yourself. And let's check out the replay real quick. As Clean was catching out Xiaoyang here, the backline of Feng Jie was once again being engaged from the likes of 90, and to finish off the top, it was the Unbridled Outburst coming in from CD Boy.
Yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful setup here. A bit of a crutch here for the side of Twisted Minds, because they were looking a little bit like shaky until that point. But now, we obviously see top side of the map, bit of pressure being put on here by the side of Twisted Minds, able to get that Shadow Overlord, the same MO that finished probably the game for the side of Paws Gaming in that last one, right?
But still, Lamb, it's a 50-50 game. Look at the goal lead here, and it's Paws Gaming we're talking about. They're going to push it back to the late game, and when we look at the high ground, the final push attempt, that's where it truly matters. But right now, I want to see what damage can Twisted Mind do with this Shadow Overlord being spawned towards the bottom side of the map.
I mean, more so pressure than obviously damage that's going to be dealt here. We can see Shanks obviously feeding through those minion waves, able to get that T2 down to the bot side, creating and alleviating a little bit of pressure over the side of Twisted Minds. But Myosotis is playing this monkey very well, right? Like, he's there to soak up a lot of the damage, soak up a lot of those skills.
That, I have to agree, but imagine without any form of backline damage, how much can Myosotis really do? Because if Feng Jie keeps dying at the start of team fight, you have realistically no backline damage to assist from him.
Exactly that, right? They've got to make sure they're protecting Feng Jie if that's going to be the case, right? Obviously, just look at that damage. Look at Chusen's coming through. The dash in on top of Feng Jie means that we are going to get the takedown out to Xiaoyang, as well as Feng Jie. Xingling goes down as well. We're seeing Twisted Minds really open up Paws here. Snow trying to get it onto that backline, trying to deter them away from this T2. No minions just yet, but they do have the Vanguards crashing through into the top side of the map.
It's a 4-for-1 scenario coming in from Twisted Mind. Can Snow really defend this? Because that is the Overlord and another one crashing down. Right now, he needs to be the savior of his team. He takes down Hailang.
He's not going to be able to do it. This means the Twisted Minds with the Vanguard, they take down the WKS champion.